Time to head to the Ministry of Magic and visit Courtroom 10 for this weekend's Community Day. I'm Professorvoqas, and this is Harry Potter, Wizards Unite.
Hello, Professor. I didn't see you there.
Saturday, March 20th, from midnight to midnight, essentially, local time for you, is this March's Community Day. As per usual, during the day, tonic for trace detections brew time is down to 1 hour, and then if you use master notes, it'll go to 30 minutes. Keep in mind, if you start brewing a tonic for trace detection before Community Day begins, it won't switch the time over. The time will actually continue to go through. So I would hold off on brewing any until the Community Day actually starts in your area. In addition, the normal complimentary bundle for a Community Day is in there, which is going to be some spell energy and the ingredients for a tonic for trace detection. So be sure to go grab that. It's free in Diagon Alley. There will be 1 kilometer port keys just on that day, although you can open them other days. And they're going to get you a fragment of the Ministry Visitor's Entrance, and those are guaranteed. So every port key you open will give you 1 fragment of the Ministry Visitor's Entrance, which is on the Courtroom 10 page, which we'll go to in just a little bit. Another feature that's been happening for Community Days are the guaranteed Fortress Fragments. The Wizengamot Accusation Chair is a guaranteed drop from Ministry of Magic runestones. But as per usual, let me clarify how that works. When you use a runestone in one of the families and go into a fortress, you have a certain chance to actually get one of those family fragments to drop. It's not making that 100%. It's that if a fragment drops, it will be the Wizengamot Accusation Chair for this Community Day. Meaning the other foundables are turned off that day in fortresses, and this is the only thing you'll get. But if you need it, it's a little easier to get because you're not getting other fragments kind of muddling up the work. But it doesn't mean that if you go into a Ruins 1 and use a Ministry of Magic runestone, you're going to get this guaranteed. It's just that if you do get a family fragment to drop, it will be the chair. All wizarding challenges would also give you spell energy as well as additional wizarding experience and challenge experience, which is kind of nice for that day when you're running those fortresses anyway. And there's a task where you're definitely going to have to run some fortresses, so it's nice that you're at least going to be getting some energy back and some bonus experience. And lastly, tonic for trace detection will actually increase spawns of certain foundables, specifically the ones on Courtroom 10, that page, which would be Nymphadora Tonks, Arthur Weasley, and then Mad-Eye Moody. And we'll go to that page and you'll see all 3 of them in just a second. So here we are on the Ministry of Magic page. You can see in the upper left is Arthur Weasley, so he's going to have increased spawns. Mad-Eye Moody in the upper right corner, increased spawns, and then Nymphadora Tonks, lower right corner, increased spawns. The Accusation Chair there, the lower left, that's the one that you're going to get out of fortresses as a guaranteed drop, but not guaranteed. We already talked about it. And then lastly, right in the middle is the Ministry Visitor's Entrance, and that's what you're going to get out of port keys. And again, you can get the port keys on this day, and then of course open them up later, which I do a lot of times for these Community Days. Speaking of which, my first bit of advice would be if you need the Visitor's Entrance, go ahead and clear out your port keys as best you can so that you have space to put those event port keys in, even if you're going to hold them over for later. As you can see from my page, it's the Visitor's Entrance and the Wizengamot Chair I need. As per usual, it's always the Fortress Foundables. Both those are Fortress Foundables, just one of them's going to come out of port keys this time. But you can see I have the other guys green starred. You can actually see Mad-Eye Moody, I'm 15 out of 15. So I'm ready to place that image, which just by chance I happen to have him available and I haven't placed it because I'm always holding on to my images, specifically for when days like this come up. Because one of the tasks actually involves placing images and there's some family experience we need, so placing that image is actually going to help me with both of those. Moving on to the tasks themselves, the first task is to use Master Notes 4 times, and it's going to get you 1 healing potion. Now keep in mind, using Master Notes does not mean brewing, although that is involved with that, so you can't do this in advance before the event begins and then collect those potions. You're actually going to have to brew throughout the day. Now, most of the time, I'm always recommending like Extimulus and Healing Potions because they're shorter brew times. But don't forget, Tonic for Trace Detection brew time is actually down to essentially 30 minutes if you use Master Notes. So you could actually theoretically do this in, I say 2 hours, but it's really an hour and a half, because after an hour and a half, you'd actually enter those last Master Notes, and you don't even have to wait for that 30 minutes for the brew time Once you enter the 4th set of master notes, boom, you've completed this task. So if you already have the ingredients for Tonic for Trace Detection, maybe hold on to them, or the rest of today, because you're probably seeing this on Friday, going into tomorrow, go ahead and collect those ingredients as best you can. And don't forget, the free gift actually has ingredients for one of those as well. But you could just as well use Extimulos or Healing Potions. It really doesn't matter as long as you enter Master Notes 4 times. Next up is to return 25 Arthur Weasley Foundables. That's going to get you 8 Ginger Root. Now, Arthur Weasley is supposed to be increased spawn rate anyway, and then Tonic for Trace Detection is also supposed to produce more of him. So we should see a lot more of him that day, and hopefully we do, because we need 25 of them. Return 20 Nymphadora Tonks Foundables. That's going to get you 2 strong Extimulos, which I'm glad, because after this adversary event, I'm definitely low on strongs and potent Extimulos. Still have a bunch of Extimulos, but I can use a couple extra strong Extimulos anytime. And again, Nymphadora Tonks is supposed to have an increased spawn rate, as well as the tonics producing more of her, so hopefully we see enough of her to go ahead and get those 20. Earn 975 Ministry of Magic Family Experience. It's going to get you a silver key. But the real issue here is we only have 1 day to do this, and anything with Family Experience, it just takes a lot longer to do. Family Experience, you're really going to gain that little by little from returning the Arthur Weasleys, from the Nymphadora Tonks. And don't forget, it doesn't say it has to be from that page, which it wouldn't have to anyway. Anything in Ministry of Magic, if you have other images to place or you return other Ministry of Magic Foundables, it's going to count toward that 975. Also keep in mind, Barufios does not help you do that any faster. Barufios is for wizarding experience, and it's also not challenge experience from fortresses. It's specifically family experience, which the ways you gain it are returning Ministry of Magic Foundables, get you small little bits. When you go into a fortress, if you do get that Wizengamot accusation chair to drop, you're actually going to get 10 family experience. You get 10 family experience whenever you get a fragment from that family. So that's only 10, and you need 975. The main way is going to be placing images. Placing images gets you the biggest chunks. If you have any other pages on gold and you're able to get some of those images, that'd be great. If you have this page on gold, the Courtroom 10, that's going to be another great way to place images. I'm only on bronze, so it's probably going to take me a little bit longer, and fortresses will probably help me a little bit along the way there. Speaking of which, fortress foundable images being placed almost always give you a bigger chunk of family experience. So if nothing else, if you can get those built up and place those images, that's going to help you toward that 975 that much more. Moving on, collect 7 Wizengamot Accusation Chair Fragments from Ministry of Magic Runestones, meaning, and you get 20 spell energy for that. Meaning you have to go into fortresses, and we talked about those guaranteed drops. You just need to get it to drop 7 times. My strategy on that is going to be lower chambers by myself. It uses less energy, and I might not get a drop every time, but I can just run it a bunch of times pretty quickly, less time, less energy, get those 7 drops, and then just move on. And lastly is to place 2 images in the Courtroom 10 Family Registry. That's the page we visited a second ago. It's going to get you 1 silver key, and that's why I'm saving that Mad Eye Moody. He's going to be one of my 2 images, and it actually kind of worked out because then we have to get a bunch of Arthur Weasleys and Nymphadora Tonks, and if I'm getting 25 and 20, I'm going to be able to place those images or be very close by just getting a few more, and I'll be able to place 2 of those images, which will get me family experience towards the 975 as well. If you finish all the tasks, you are going to get 3 Defense Against the Dark Arts books, 3 spell books, 40 gold, 200 wizarding experience, and 20 spell energy. Which I know for a lot of people, these rewards, if you've played for a long time, these rewards, you don't even necessarily need them. Not that you couldn't use the Defense Against Dark Arts books, but there are other ways to get it. Like the Adversary event we just had this weekend, people probably gained a lot more of those than they would from an event like this, obviously. For me personally, those 3 spell books, I'm still working on my combat tree in the area over by the SOS tree, that combat adversary tree, and I'm still working on that myself, trying to get unlocked to the lethals and then go ahead and start unlocking those lethal nodes. So I still need spell books, and so the extra 3 will kind of be nice. But truth be told, the quickest way to get them really is to just get your challenge registry. Just keep going through that by running fortresses and gaining that experience. So not too much to do to prepare for this event. Mainly just have 4 potions that you can brew, and then don't brew them until the day of. If you happen to be up late at night when midnight hits, you don't necessarily have to play the event, but you can open up the game and you could actually go ahead and enter the master notes for one of them. So when you then go to sleep and wake up, you'll have 1 down and you've just got 3 more to go. In addition, the only other thing I can think of is if you go to the Ministry of Magic and you have any images ready to place or really close, just kind of be aware of those. Hopefully you can get those ready to place and then place them to get that family experience. With some of the server issues we just had for that adversary event, as well as some night bus issues, really just kind of all around glitchiness. I know I had to restart my game many times because I kept getting frozen or into just little mini loops where it was just loading the whole time. Hopefully on Community Day that is not an issue and everybody has a much smoother experience. As always, thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Knox.